I recently moved into a really nice duplex in the middle of central New York. Having just left my family in Missouri and starting out on my own, I was really nervous about picking a place to live. I settled in New York because I was interested in pursuing a career in journalism and figured the Big Apple would be a good place to start. Anyway, I met up with the person who would be renting the property to me to talk over the details of the lease. After I got off the train where she told me to, I took a good look around. It seemed like a really nice neighborhood. A kid was playing with his dog in a small pool across the street from my soon-to-be home. A slight smile touched my lips. Maybe life on my own won't be so bad, I thought to myself. I lifted the wrought iron door knocker and let it fall with a resounding thud. It was opened by a sweet-looking mid-50s woman wearing a bright red sweater, her chestnut hair curled in long locks down her face. She greeted me warmly. "You must be David," she smiled, shaking my hand. "Please, come in, have a seat." I walked into the house and was very pleased with its aesthetics. There was a nice fireplace, already lit and very inviting, a two-seater love seat that was in pristine condition, hardwood floors, and even a very impressive glass chandelier. I couldn't believe I was getting this place for only $200 a month. What a steal. She ushered me into the kitchen, where I sat down to read over the lease. April, the woman's name, offered me some tea, and I graciously accepted. As she brought it to me, I noticed that in her youth April must have been stunning. She had the looks of an ex-supermodel who had retired from the business. After I had drank my tea, and we chatted a while, I signed the lease and she handed me the key to the duplex. "Well, it's all yours now." She smiled warmly and shook my hand one final time before turning around to leave. "One more thing," she called over her shoulder. "Careful of the stairs at night, dear. One could easily trip in the shadows." I looked up to thank her for the warning, but she was already gone. Strange. I didn't hear the door close. I was very tired from the move and decided to turn in early. I took a shower and began preparing for bed. Something felt kind of off when I climbed the stairs to the second floor of my new home, but I just brushed it off as unease due to being alone for the first time in my life. Sunlight pouring in through my windows, birds chirping happily in a large oak outside my window. I smiled as I stretched and thought, today is going to be a great day. Looking back in hindsight, I couldn't have been more wrong. After I had showered, I descended the stairs, and there once again was that chilling feeling. It must be a draft, I told myself. Maybe there's a crack in the wall somewhere. I ate a simple but nice breakfast. April had been nice enough to make me the day prior. It was sitting in the fridge with a little note that said, "Good luck with the job interview, dearie." The words were surrounded by little hearts. Such a sweet woman, I remarked to myself. I boarded the 8:30 train into Upper Manhattan to get to, hopefully, my new place of work. While standing, waiting to arrive, I felt a small tug at my hand. I looked down and saw a little girl, no more than 6, looking up at me worriedly. I stooped down and asked her what was wrong. I can't find my mom," she sniffled. "No worries, little one," I smiled down at her. "Maybe you just need a higher point of view." I lifted her up onto my shoulders. She giggled and tugged at my hair. "Do you see her?" I called out. She pantomimed, putting a spyglass to her face and pointed me down the car. "Ahoy, matey! There she be!" she squealed excitedly, bouncing up and down. I made my way through the crowd until I reached a gorgeous woman in a sleek black dress. She looked more like she should be in a ballroom than a crowded train at 9 in the morning. She smiled and took the girl down from my shoulders. "Thank you so much," she beamed. "Tabitha tends to wander when she gets bored." She looked at the girl strictly. Tabitha just smiled and buried her face into her mother. The girl in the dress certainly didn't look old enough to be a mother, I thought to myself. She looks only about 16, 18 at the most. I turned to ask her if maybe it was her sister, and Tabitha just called her that, but they were gone. I realized the train had stopped and they must have gotten off. It was my stop as well, so I figured, I guess I'll never know. The interview went great. They loved me. I got the job almost on the spot. I would be reporting on crime in some of the lower Manhattan side. I was ecstatic. Maybe my dreams were finally going to come true. I was told to come in for my first assignment next week. I thanked my new boss profusely and exited the building. With nothing better to do at noon on a Saturday, I figured I'd just go home and watch trash TV until I was tired enough to sleep. Not healthy, I know, but what you gonna do? I got home and settled onto the love seat and put on some stupid survival show. I did this for a few hours and was about to doze into a nap when the phone startled me. Hello? I said groggily. Oh, hi, Mom. Yes, I'm fine. I got the job. Yes? Uh-huh. Alright. I love you too. Bye. I was turning back to the love seat when... Hello? What the hell was that? Didn't you like my song? I spun around at the soft voice and saw... Tabitha. What are you doing here, little one? I asked, looking around for her mother, or really anyone. I'm playing, of course, just like I used to. She smiled up at me. Let me show you where my friends always used to play. She grabbed my hand and tugged me towards the hallway. We stopped in front of the large staircase. She let go of my hand and walked around the stairs to the other side. She beckoned me to follow. I did, and saw a small door open leading into the stairs, like a basement. When I was shown the house, that door had not been there. I'm sure of it. Tabby, get up here right now, I called down. Where's your mother? Come and find me, mister, she taunted merrily. Needless to say, I was a bit spooked, but I couldn't just leave her there. I went down and was greeted by the most intense smell of rot I had ever encountered. She was standing in the middle of the... well, I guess you could call it a room. The walls were plastered with hundreds of children's drawings, filthy from time. In the farthest corner of the room, I could barely make out what looked like cages. Small, waist-high cages. There was something in them. Whatever it was, it made the smell, I'm sure of it. Miss April used to play with us down here, she said in her small, sweet voice. She turned to face me, but kept her face down. The cages were from when we were bad and wouldn't play. Or if we bit or kicked, she said quietly. Tabitha, come here. We need to get out of here right now, I said frantically. She looked up at me, and where her eyes should be were two gaping black holes. I can never leave, mister. Why don't you just stay here with me? She began shuffling towards me, her arms raised as if to give me a hug. I tore my eyes away from her face and repressed the urge to vomit. I shot up the stairs, moving faster than I'd ever moved in my life. I called the police immediately and then ran outside to retch off my stoop. I sank down right there on my porch and cradled my knees, rocking back and forth. The police found me there rocking. I was pretty out of it, but the reports said that I kept repeating April over and over. The police had taken me down to the station for questioning after I had calmed down a bit. They had found the room, found the decomposed bodies of a child and a teenager. One of the children's name was Tabby. Tabby Winston and her sister Alyssa. They asked me why I'd been in the house. I told them the same thing I had previously told them. A woman named April had rented me the house. They insisted that that was impossible. When I asked why, they said that the house had been condemned for over 10 years, when a woman had hung herself in the attic after the death of her two children, Tabby and Alyssa.